combine two questions, if I can. Dennis Rogerson and Mrs. Brooks both asked questions regarding state pension. One regarding the Armed Forces Pension Group, and the other regarding the fact that some of the changes were made in legislation to state pensions by the Labour government, and yet the Lib-Dem seem to have claimed the earnings link delivering a better deal for the delivering a better deal than Labour did. And I just wanted to see if you've got views on the state pension and how we sit at the moment.
Can I actually pose my question, please?
Well, if you go through that, it might take us another 20 minutes or so.
My point is that the Labour government actually legislated to restore the earnings link between wages and state pensions, not the Liberal Democrats. They also made a number of changes which have significantly improved the pension position, particularly for women. In 2010-11, 50% more women who reach state pension age will get a full state pension. So my question is, in light of that, do panel members think that it's appropriate, to quote Mr Watkins, honourable, for a candidate to claim in his campaign material that it was the Lib Dem that restored the earnings link and that they are delivering a better deal for pensioners?
Okay, we'll go straight to
Yeah, we're the government now, we enacted it, therefore that's us. We've now actually we've gone, all of us, you had 13 years in government, you didn't do it. Now we've government. I'm sorry, let me just finish my question before I answer. You had 30 governments and you didn't do it. I thought it was disgraceful that pensions got 75 pence increase in several years. We've now said in our decent increase. This next step we're going to have, I think, £4.50 increase, and I'm very proud we've got that. Not only that, the Labour Party, one of the few things that came honestly about was that they were going to cut the full winter payments from £25 a week to £7.50. I'm pleased that we found money to be able to keep those payments going. In particular, I'm very pleased with the fact that we've now said that it should be based in forecasts, whether forecasts, not actual events, so that if it does get cold, we will do forecasts, it's going to be cold, pensioners can keep the heat on, not very hot and build so much. I'm proud that my government has helped to deliver that.
You didn't legislate for it. That was the
Sorry, we brought in the topic, but we brought it.
I think there's a bit of a technical issue going on there. Yes, the Labour government may have provided the legislation to allow anyone to then restore the earnings link. They never got around to it over 30 years. And they promised it at election time as well. They said, look, we restored it, and then didn't. So yes, the legislation might have been in place, but it was never voted to force. And what we've done when we came in is to force that into force. So I think that's still on the... So on a technical basis, it's true that they may have legislated, but actually getting around to implementing that legislation, it took the Conservative coalition to do that.
David, you want to add something?
Thank you for acknowledging that it was the Labour government that did actually introduce that. It also lifted nearly 1 million pensioners out of poverty. And let's not forget, you actually took away the link with pension. That was Mr Thatcher in the 80s. And the real issue is, what are the cuts that are actually in the pipeline? If they're going along this sort of line. It's absolutely vital that we care for our older people, and it's absolutely right that we did this, but I'm not having it taking any lessons.
You have 13 years to restore it, implement the earnings link. 13 years.
And you took it away, actually.
Yeah, no, we took it away in the 80s. We had done 13 years, and you did nothing. And we've done it within months of coming to power.
We lifted nearly 1 million pensioners.
No, but it's the earnings link. The question was about the earnings link. You promised it after election after election after election. Had 13 years to actually implement it. You didn't. And said, well, we might pass legislation which you never voted for.
Okay.
Doesn't overcome that.
Okay, we've run well beyond the 9 o'clock that I said we were going to work through, and these people are busy. They'll be out on the doorsteps again tomorrow. In reverse order, I'm just going to ask them to have their final say to convince you as waverers. I know a lot of you have got questions that weren't asked, and I do apologise, but we've run out of time. You can't ask every question. I know some of you will shake your heads, but I do apologise. I hope we've covered some of the main issues of today. Debbie, if you want to say your piece, but just keep it to 90 next couple of minutes.
Well, again, thank you for the opportunity of speaking again this testing. As I said before, I'm a local person. I do understand that we're working on the issues of many of the families in Oldham and Southwark. What we're seeing at the moment with this government is some really, really regressive measures that are going to affect the poorest and most vulnerable in society. We've talked about VAT and how that's affecting. There are other things as well around the NHS, and I'm really proud of what the Labour government did to support
by-election, our coalition government in place is going to be in place for another 4 years. It's widely accepted and expected. What Oldham needs is a good constituency MP, and I think we've seen even tonight that whilst Labour and the Lib-Dem fight each other, I would fight for you, and we need a change here. We need to get away from this old Labour-Lib-Dem politics, which I think has inflicted this seat for far too long. And so I ask you to consider change for this seat, consider giving me a chance. Don't vote tactically, as I said before, and consider voting Conservative. And finally, I'm not going to always get everything right. We're not always going to agree on everything. But if I was your MP, I'd always make myself available. I'd probably meetings like this and in other places, and listen to your views, and take them forward, and use my influence to try and get the best result I could for you.
We've seen tonight what the Labour Party candidate is against. What we've not seen is what we're for. And when it comes down to the substantive issues that we're talking about tonight, when we talk about substantive issues that we're talking about tonight, the sort of Labour Party members, the Labour Party members are very, they sort of got an integrity and respect to you.
Any more promises?
When we talked about Sutherland School, we now know there was never any money for Sutherland School. It was a complete election promise that couldn't be fulfilled, and now we're getting a further one. When we talk about the police, we know that the Labour Party said they were going to have £550 million of budget cuts in the police budgets, and yet we have somebody that says now we're going to get no budget cuts in the police. Politics is about alternatives, and it's about being a credible alternative. We know we've got difficult choices to make, and I will not shy away from making difficult choices. I will be a force in government, fighting for this town, at the top table. As an opposition MP, you can stand up, you can ask questions, you can try and embarrass the government. What you don't have is access to the minister, access to the people with the levers of power. That's something that I will have. And finally, I'd like to say, I'm a bit, thank you for organising tonight. I'm a bit disappointed that we've not talked about the main issue which I'm concerned about, which is jobs, and getting more jobs for people locally. Now I say, people can talk about getting jobs, people can read books about it. Unfortunately, we have very few MPs that have real experience of getting jobs to our area. People say, somebody shouted out a little while ago, manufacturing where we still have many companies in this constituency, our Brothers Company being one of them, which are expanding, which have skill shortages, which can employ more local people, and I hope you'll select an MP that has real experience of that area, that can create jobs, bring jobs to here. Every candidate has 30 years of talking more jobs. I actually think I want to add some knowledge about it that will bring that to the table.
Council John. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not going to give Elwyn the last word because I'm going to have it. I'd just like to say thank you to all three of the candidates coming along tonight. They are busy. It was something that was done at short notice. I'd like to thank Denshaw Village Hall for making the facility available, because we were looking for somewhere that was in the constituency, and you wouldn't believe it, but it's not that easy to find somewhere that will hold 100+ people in Oldham By-Election. I'd like to also thank the young scouts who hopefully raised a few pounds on the way to get to Sweden. All three have talked about choices. At the end of the day, you have the choice, because you put the X in the box next Thursday. And I would remind you that on Friday morning at 7 o'clock we'll tell you who won. So make sure we're going to work through the night. We're on our presses at 4:30, and if you go in the shop at 6 o'clock with the newspapers, it won't be on the front page you won all the Evening Chronicle, but it will in the Oldham Chronicle. Thanks and good night.